Welcome back to A Timey-Wimey Pod, where we watch every episode of Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. My name's Rebecca.
I'm Haley.
And today we are discussing Series 4, Episode 5, The Poison Sky. And this will be our last Series 4 episode for a while.
Yes, it will. We will be pausing our Series 4 rewatch, and we will be making episodes talking about the latest season of Doctor Who that is premiering on April 12th.
I'm so excited for this new season, you guys. Every day we get new clips and photos and interviews, and I have high hopes. I can't lie.
I feel the exact same. I am really looking forward to it, and I can't wait to discuss all about it here on the pod. But that leads us to talk a little bit about what that schedule will look like.
Yeah, so next week we won't have an episode, and then the following week or a review of the Robot Revolution will come out. So we'll just be a week behind of everything, just because that's kind of what works for us, because we need time to watch the episode, record, edit, all that. So we'll be a little bit behind like we were last year if you guys were following us back then. But it's still going to be a great time.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TimeyWimeyPod, because we post all of the things: reels, TikToks, opinions, reposts, everything. So go follow us there if you don't already.
Yeah, we're going to be posting theories there, other fun things. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Are you ready for some fantastic facts?
Of course I am.
All right, so this episode aired May 3rd, 2008. It was written once again by Helen Rayner and directed by Douglas McKinnon. My fantastic facts for this episode, guys, it's not great. There wasn't a whole lot of interesting stuff. But a little tidbit about Rose's appearance, her 1 second, if you blink, you'll miss it appearance, that was originally not in the script. And it was added in post-production after her appearance in Partners in Crime gagged everyone, gagged the world, and everyone was freaking out. So when Russell saw the reaction, he threw in that little snippet into this episode.
I love that he did that. I think it just builds the anticipation even more for whatever's happening with her storyline.
No, it's perfect. I love the little moment we see her because it's just a reminder, like, oh yeah, also something's going on with Rose, like, huh? And it's great. Always happy to see Rose. Also in this episode, when Donna's aboard the Sontaran ship, she was meant to use a shoe to knock out the Sontaran, but because Catherine Tate only wears sneakers, they thought a sneaker would be too soft and would just like bounce off and not work. So that's why she uses the mallet instead.
I love that she uses the mallet instead of a sneaker. Like, I don't know, like visually that is way more interesting than just a random shoe. And slay Catherine Tate, you're so real for only wearing sneakers.
Yeah, me too, girl. Me too. I love Sylvia smashing the windshield. It's so great. It reminds me of the line that I think is said in Partners in Crime when Donna's like, just smash it then. And then here Sylvia comes smashing the windshield. It's great.
It's so great. But this scene always makes me wonder, why was she the first person to try smashing the windshield or the window? Like, come on. I feel like that's the first thing I would try.
That's the power of Sylvia for you.
She really comes through in this episode. And I mentioned before, I don't like Sylvia in RTD1. She is just so mean to Donna. But she kind of slays and pulls through in this episode, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I realized watching this episode, well, one, I've always had a little bit of a soft spot for Sylvia. I don't know why. I just think she's funny. I think the actress is great. Even though, like, I can't stand how mean she is to Donna. And there's a moment later on where she really upsets me, but I'll save it. But I realized out of all of the RTD companions' mothers, Sylvia's most like my mom, except my mom isn't my biggest hater and like calling me worthless all the time. So, but besides
I would hope
that,
not.
No, Mom, you're not listening to this, but I love you. You're great. But besides that, my mom is the closest to Sylvia out of any of the other moms.
Interesting.
I think your mom is more like Ruby's mom.
No, I'd agree with that.
I really like the moment too where Wilf tells Donna to go with the doctor and Sylvia gets all upset, but Wilf is like, no, like go help, like go be with the doctor. That's just a moment. That's why I love Wilf so much.
I completely agree. Shout out to Russ for, is it Russ or Ross?
Okay, I'm glad you brought this up because when I was watching it today, the subtitle said Ross, but
Yeah,
it definitely sounds like Russ.
Russ.
So I'm calling him Russ.
Okay. And then in our podcast episode from last week, I was saying like a combo of those two names. It wasn't Russ or Russ. It was like so weird. Anyways, shout out to you, Russ, for securing the non-Atmos car.
Yeah. And rip to Russ. Like,
I
he died in
know.
this episode.
The way he goes out always makes me so upset. I hate that scene so much because I love him.
Rip Russ. Justice to you. I love when the doctor's like, he's not whatever code name they were. His name was
Mhm.
Russ. And he's just like, all the like back and forth with the Colonel in this episode is so good. Like, they just both get so fed up with each other. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. But Ross King, you did not deserve that.
Fly high, King. Donna gets her key in this episode.
She does. And I feel like the whole sequence giving her the TARDIS key while she's literally choking to death is just so them.
It is. And I love her line that's like, yeah, well, we can get all sentimental about it after the world's done choking to death. It's the perfect them moment. It's so good.
And I find it so interesting that 10 immediately has her go in the TARDIS to stay in there and stay safe when everyone else was in unit. Like, I find that so interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. And there is a line later on in the episode, almost kind of implying that he knew the TARDIS was going to get taken somehow and he needed her up there. But I don't know if that's exactly what. I don't know. It was just kind of like a throwaway line that kind of implied that, but I don't know if that was actually what he was thinking.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Something I really appreciate in this episode is that 10 clocked that Martha was a clone basically immediately.
Yes.
I am so glad we did not have the trope where like he did not know the entire time until the end, because stuff like that drives me crazy.
Oh yeah. And I'm so glad he notices because the clone Martha is just
A shell of her, literally.
a shell. Like, she was literally just standing there, sitting around, never saying anything. Like, there's a moment where the doctor asks her something and she's like, how would I know? Like, Martha would never say that. Martha would be
No.
thinking, she'd be worrying about her family. She wouldn't be just standing around being boring. So yeah, I'm glad that he notices right away. I also real quick love the line when he realizes the TARDIS has been taken and he's like, I'm stuck on Earth like a boring human. How rubbish is that? No offense. Like,
Like, sir,
it's great.
it's so funny though.
Yeah. I love the scene when the doctor's in unit and they kind of have the video call with the Sontarans.
Yes.
That scene is so good. The doctor's being so sassy, calling the Sontarans cowards, like, for lack of a better term, flipping the channel when they all start chanting. The Colonel getting so annoyed with this, them both giving each other like, oh, that's not very diplomatic. Like, that whole scene, top to bottom, is so good. I love it.
Oh, it is so funny. And I just love how he's working up the Sontarans. It is just so great when he's like talking in code, not really to signal to Donna that he knows she's up there in the Sontaran ship and that like there's a cell phone that, you know, they can talk on, which Donna freaking out about not knowing the doctor's number is so real because
So
that would be
real.
me.
Yeah, she's so real because I'd be like, I literally don't understand. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you want me to do. Her crash out is so real.
It's so real. She's stronger than me. I would have a panic attack. I would be rocking back and forth on the ground.
Same. A little detail I want to talk about that we haven't mentioned yet is how the 10th Doctor has little sticky notes with Gallifreyan writing on the screen in the TARDIS. And I just think
yeah.
it's the cutest little set detail. I love it so much. I love it anytime we see the little sticky notes, and it's like, what is he like? What little notes is the doctor writing to himself? Like, what is he saying? It's so cute. I love it.
I want to know now. Like, give me the translation. What's the
I
tea?
know.
What's on those post-its?
Yeah, what is he saying? Like, what does he need to remember?
So last week we talked quite a bit about how militarized Unit is in this version of Unit. And my main gripe and problem with them is in this episode when the colonel is not even willing to listen to the doctor
Yeah.
at all whatsoever. Like they are so militarized that they don't want to listen to anyone but themselves. And I just feel like Kate Stewart, she would never do that.
No. And like you have the doctor who knows the Sontarans, like the only one who knows who they are, what they're like, and you just refuse to listen. And what really bugs me is when the doctor says like nuclear weapons won't do anything to their ship, like they
Mm-hmm.
will be fine, and they're still going to launch the nuclear missiles. For what? We just told you it's not going to work.
Literally, I don't know what they think is going to happen and why they think they're invincible. And it just literally army against army in this episode.
Yeah. No, I love the line the doctor says earlier in the episode to Donna where he's like, I gotta go stop the war.
Which, side note, like brief sidebar, the Sontarans have been in a 50,000 year war with another race. Guys, at that point, settle down. Just stop. Like, no wonder the Daleks and Time Lords did not want you involved in the Time War.
No, that is so like, what could you possibly be fighting about for 50,000 years? That is insane.
Honestly, like, that is so crazy. 50,000
Yeah.
years.
I find this really interesting though. Like I want to meet
Yeah.
the rotons, I forget whatever the other species is called, and like let's have an episode focus on that. Like what's going on there? Like what's happening? Why are we doing this? What do you think of Rattigan in this episode? Because to me he just becomes even more annoying in the second half until the end, but we'll save that. But in his crash out, he's just so annoying this whole episode. But what do you think?
It's been a while since I've seen this episode. I forgot how annoying that man
Me
is.
too.
Like, that character, he literally created a breeding program for him and like the other people at Rattigan Academy or whatever, which is like so gross and so ew. Also, threatening all of those people at gunpoint and them leaving anyways, like that's just insane
Yeah,
and low-key
and
funny.
yeah, no, that is so funny. Like pulling the gun on them. I love the girl being like, "Well, shoot me then," and then she just walks away, and he's still like holding the gun and not shooting because he's a coward. And then he's like, "Well, I'm cleverer than all of you. I'm cleverer," which I'm like, "That is that a word? I don't think so."
Yeah, like at this point, sit down, step back. Like, why do you think the Sontarans are actually going to work with you? You've literally seen them destroy and kill, and you think you'll be fine. Because literally right after that, the Sontarans admit that, oh, all of your friends would have been target practice. And
Yeah,
that's when he starts breaking down and crashing out. And I
yeah.
just can't.
No.
I can't. That man is so annoying.
Yeah, he's so annoying. I know we said we were going to save it, but since we're talking about it, we might as well get into it. I think him dying and like sacrificing himself and kind of saving the doctors really the best thing they could have done with that character. Like just kill him. Like no offense, just get rid of him. Give him a nice good death. Great way to just get rid of him. And I think it's a really nice moment. Like the doctor is saying goodbye. He tells him to do something clever with his life. And he decides in that moment he is going to do something clever. And he saves the person that's smarter than he is. And I just love that moment where he switched spots with the doctor and he's like, Suntar ha! And then blows up the Sontarans. It's great.
That Santar Ha moment is really the greatest clip and part of his entire character. The only redeeming quality Rattigan ever has is sacrificing himself, because that man, I'm so sorry, but he just needed to die.
Yeah,
There was no
he
way
did.
around that.
No.
Also, can we talk about the doctor was just going to go out like that? No big speech, no nothing, which, like, I get it, okay. But, like, literally just saying, Donna, thank you for everything. Then an awkward pause. Then, Martha, you too. So many times. Like, come on, Ten. Stop the self sacrificing.
Yeah. I actually really like that moment, and I really like what he says to them and acknowledgement that Martha gets for the so many times, you know. And I love how he says that he has to give them a choice. That's just a very doctory moment to me, and it really makes sense. And I think him going out that way, not really giving a grand goodbye to Martha and Donna, is very fitting in his character. Like, let's not forget the moment in Doomsday when he puts the teleport around Rose's neck and doesn't even say anything.
That's such a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because I mean, like, what are you going to say? Like, there's
Mhm.
not enough words or a speech big enough in the world to say, like, anything.
No.
So yeah, crazy scene though. That goes.
Oh yeah.
I do like this scene though as a whole. Like, and I like episodes like this where there's sadness involved and consequences last. Like the consequences that Radigan sacrificed himself, and
Mhm.
that, like, all of those unit soldiers and employees died. I like when there's consequences that stay.
Yeah, me too. I like how panicked the doctor is when he's on board the Sontaran ship and he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna do it. And the Sontarans are like, good. Like, we can't wait. We're ready because you're gonna go out with us. And the doctor's just freaking out in the panic. And that's why Radigan switching with him just makes the moment even better, because then the
Mm-hmm.
death isn't as satisfying to the Sontarans.
Yeah, the Sontarans, they're so funny to me, but they're
Yeah.
also annoying.
Yeah, no, they are, again, we said this last week, but as villains, like, they are so interesting because they are just so battle focused, you know, glory of war, like, that's all they care about. Yeah, they're kind of like the Ice Warriors, but I do far prefer them from the Ice Warriors. But yeah, again, like I said, I definitely prefer them in more comedic settings than as like serious villains.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. And I know we talked about this last week too. They really work when they appear sporadically and it's
Hmm.
very campy and silly. Like, yes, like consequences and just like conflict, of course, but overall, when they're made campy and they lean into that, I think that's when they thrive. And in my opinion, this episode does drag a little bit to
Hmm.
me. Like, it just feels like there's a little bit of filler. I don't really know what else they could have done to avoid that, but overall, like, this two-parter, they're a fun villain. Like, they're
Yeah,
silly, they're campy, it's not too serious. It's not like the end of the universe. And that's what I really like about this two-parter, even though this episode does drag on a bit.
no, I completely agree. They're not taking themselves too seriously. They're leaning into the comedic bits, and it works here with them as the main villain.
It does. I think my only complaint is really with Unit in this
Mm.
episode, but I also find it interesting to see different versions of Unit and like different versions of Torchwood throughout the show. It's just really interesting to see like the differences that each organization has depending on who's in charge and what the show currently is and who's like the current villain of the hour.
No, I completely agree. Since you mentioned unit, I have to bring up that we got a reference to the Brigadier in this episode, which
Yes.
I always love. If you're not familiar with her lore, I've seen bits and pieces of Classic Who here and there. I specifically love the Third Doctor and all the Brigadier episodes with him. So I love the reference here. To me, one of the great tragedies of New Who is that they didn't get the Brigadier in an episode before the actor passed away. Yeah, it's really sad to me, and I love everything that they've done with Kate. I'm a Kate defender. I've said it before. I'll say it
Yes.
again. Yeah, I love how they explain his absence by the fact that he's in Peru randomly.
Not just in Peru, stranded in Peru. Which is
Stranded
like,
in Peru.
is that true or is that a cover story? Is there some alien colony in Peru?
Why
It's so
Peru?
funny to me. Like, it's
It,
so specific.
it really is. Like, okay, he's stranded in Peru. Like, we're on our own, I guess.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Donna's whole arc throughout this episode. I really love the scene when she's alone in the TARDIS and she calls back home. Though I hate the moment when Donna's trying to reassure her mom about all the smoke and smog, and she's like, "Don't worry, mom, like people are working on it." And Sylvia's like, "Oh, like you would know, like you're so clever." Again, that word is, I can't say that word anymore. But that moment just upsets me so much because it's like she's trying to
Like,
be comforting and helpful. Like, why would you say that? But
I
then she
know.
says, right away, she says that she just wishes Donna was there. And that, I think, just really sums up so many mother and daughter relationships. Like the bickering in one moment and just the like, I wish you were here in the very next
Yeah.
moment. That that's family, Your Honor.
So true. And I love that Wilf, in talking to Donna, is like, you said the doctor was going to watch over you and you're alone without the doctor. Like, he always has the right priorities. He knows his family is first, Donna is
Mhm.
first, and the doctor will have to answer for anything happening to Donna.
He's gonna have to answer if he doesn't clear up this whole mess. And I love
Mm-hmm.
that moment. And I love Donna saying, like, he is going to look after me. He just needs me to do something and I don't know what it is. I don't know why that line I just think is so sweet and so Donna.
But yes, going back to Donna's arc in this episode of her on the Sontaran ship, it's so good because like her confidence in herself and in how she views herself really is shifting, and she's really
Mhm.
like, I can't do this, and the doctor's like, yes you can. And I love when she hits the Sontaran with the mallet and she's like, got his neck. It's just so funny, and I love when she's like panicking about the three finger scanner, like, this is three fingers. What do I do? And Tin is literally like, Donna, you have three fingers. And she's like, oh yeah, I can do this. Like, it's just so funny and also so realistic. Like, it just feels so real.
Yeah, I love the moment where he's like holding the phone up to his mouth and he's like, "You're brilliant, you are." Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's so sweet. I love when he first calls her and he's like, "Well, I got a secret weapon and it's you." That's so, I don't know, that's so sweet.
It
Um
is, yeah.
and the line where Donna's like, "I can't even change a fuse," and the doctor's like, "Stop saying that. Like, you're brilliant. Yes, you can. You can do this." It's so great. They just have like such a great dynamic. And I love any moment where the doctor tells her how brilliant she is and how smart she is. It makes me so happy.
Me too. The thing is, Martha being cloned is annoying, but Clone Martha at least continuously stopped nuclear war from happening. And for that, I have to stand temporarily. I have to temporarily stand her for that because, first off, this is like the bajillionth time humans and UNIT chooses nuclear war or explosives over just
hmm
listening to the doctor.
Yeah, literally the only good thing about Clone Martha is she's stopping the nuclear war. And I love how the doctor says, like, yeah, you were a triple agent and you didn't even know. But yeah, that the clone thing is just like one of my biggest problems with this two-parter because Clone Martha is just so dreadfully boring. And you really feel it as soon as we get real Martha back and she's more animated, she's more herself, she's Martha, and it's like, ugh,
Mm-hmm.
this clone was just so dull and boring. And
But that's kind of
I
the point, though.
I know it's the point, But like I said last week, I just wish for Freema's sake that she was given more to do and she didn't have to be such a boring clone most of this story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean, but I will say I really like the scene towards the end of this episode when
Mm-hmm.
Martha is saved by 10 and Martha watches her clone self die. And she really gets more out of Clone Martha in that 30 seconds than anyone has gotten the whole episode with what the heck the Sontarans really are up to. But the scene with Martha is just so heartfelt, even though she obviously doesn't want a clone of herself and she's like weirded out by it. And Freema's acting in that scene is stellar.
So good. And I love how kind she is to her clone. And when
Yeah.
she says, Martha, please, like she calls her own clone Martha. And that just simple choice right there speaks such volumes into who Martha is as a person and her kindness. I love it so much.
Me too. And poor Martha, though, girl has been through so much and she had to watch herself die.
Yeah. Can't get a break. And then she has to wear for the rest of the episode until like the very last scene. She's in that horrible white gown with David's like long trench coat over it. And it's like the Martha outfits just keep getting worse.
Okay, but no, what I actually love Tin's coat on her. I actually love that though.
No, I do love her wearing it. I find it really sweet.
Her outfit at the end of this episode when she's in the TARDIS kind of eats. Where was that fashion in series 3? That's what I want to know.
Yes, I was going to bring that up because when that scene came on, I was like, wait, that outfit is kind of a slay. Like one of her best looks, unfortunately.
Precisely. And then she gets like held hostage by the TARDIS. Like she goes to leave and then the TARDIS is like, no, queen, no. And it's so chaotic. I love you, TARDIS. Thank you for letting us have Martha for another episode.
I love her shouting, Doctor, don't you dare. Like she's like, no, I can't do this again. It's great.
It's so good.
We get quite a couple references to past moments, past things. We get the "Are you my mummy?" from the Doctor, which
lives were changed.
Good. Lives were changed. Iconic GIF, iconic mention. Really speaks volumes to how iconic the Empty Child and the Doctor dances is. And to that we say thank you, Stephen Moffat.
Thank you, Stephen Moffat. Like this, the one screenshot of Tin saying, "Are you my mummy?" in this episode, guys. If you were thriving like we were during the Tumblr 2013-2014 era, unmatched on there with that.
It was everywhere. We see the Valiant for the first time since Last of the Time Lords, and it kind of helps clear the air. Oh, double. That's funny. It kind of helps clear the sky, which is fun.
I always forget the Valiant is involved in this episode.
Completely forgot.
Always so random. I'm like, oh yeah, there it is. Oh, okay. Side note / question, why did literally everyone have to wear gas masks outside because of like all of the gas, but yet the Colonel was able to talk just fine until the Valiant started clearing?
No, literally.
All of the gas.
Like he takes it off to talk to everyone for what?
And he's like fine and not choking? Then why did they all have to wear masks?
Yeah, I don't know. We also get a Captain Jack mention.
Wait, we do?
Yeah.
Oh, we know we do. We do. That's right.
Yeah. No, love that. I love when the Doctor, Donna, and Martha teleport to Rattigan Academy, and there's like Luke Rattigan having his crash out, waving his gun around, and the Doctor just grabs it, throws it across the room, and says, "If I see one more gun, it's hot, Your Honor." That I love that moment so much. It's so good. Put it in every edit, please. And thank you.
No objections are stated at this time, Your Honor. tin igniting the atmosphere goes crazy, actually, and I kind of love that visual because it's kind of insane and I love it. It's a visual we low-key see it, not low-key, no, we see this visual again, not from this perspective, but we see it again in a couple of episodes.
We sure do. Oh, and yeah, I kept thinking about that too, watching this episode.
Also, Wolf and Sylvia cheering when like it was all clear was so cute.
It is. And I love like right before that, like when it's really bad, he's comforting her while she's crying. That's so sweet. And I love the end of the episode when Sylvia's walking and she's like, "You won't catch me in a car." And she's like, "Everyone's walking and riding bikes." Like, it's such a sweet moment.
So sweet. And I love the scene at the end with Wolf where him and Dawn are at the table and he just tells her, this gets me every time, by the way, this scene.
Yeah.
But he just tells her to go out in the stars and bring back a little for her old Gramps. And that is just like the sweetest scene. Where's Bernard Cribbin's Emmy? Like Oscar?
Please.
Like
you got like all the
he
things.
got all the things. Because this scene is one of the most heartfelt scenes in the show, in my opinion, and their dynamic is just so good and so beautiful, and how they're both emotional at the end of the scene because, you know, Wolf is sad that she's going but happy, and Donna's happy she's going but sad she's going, and it really just kind of sums up the complexity of traveling as a companion with a doctor.
Yeah, and I love them kind of agreeing that it's just better to not tell Sylvia. Yeah, I just love that moment between them so much, and I love how Wolf is always Donna's biggest supporter, and he just wants her to be happy and go out there and travel with the doctor and be with the stars. And yeah, no, that moment really gets me.
Also, shout out to you, Donna, for slapping 10 after he came back. Thank you for doing that for all of us.
I love that moment so much. Again, just one of those small things that really sums up their relationship. Like they really are family, Your Honor. Like they are brother and sister. They are siblings, and like just the slap and then hug. It's perfect. Who is the star of the show?
Okay, I really want to say Wilf, okay? I really, really do. But I fear I'm going to be choosing him every time he's in an episode, and you chose him last episode, so I feel like I have to do someone else. I gotta give it... Oh, dang it. No, I chose Russ last time.
There's not a lot of good choices.
You know what? I'm just going to go with Wilf, because the alternative is Russ, and I chose him last episode, and he low-key died in this episode, so he didn't really do anything spectacular. So I'm gonna choose Wilf.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'll give it to Luke just for him dying, like just for that last scene of him doing something smart and switching places with the doctor. But that's it. Only for that. What is the heart of this episode?
The heart of this episode is be careful what you're involved with. Be careful about what academy you go to, because you don't want to be at the mercy of an insane evil genius who threatens you with a gun and has created a breeding program.
No, literally. I couldn't say it better myself. Do we have any reviews from the past?
Yes, we do, and they are from IMDb. And the first one is by the user A Metaphysical Shark, and they wrote on May 3rd, 2008, saying that perhaps for lack of a budget, the classic episodes rarely, if ever, dared set up a catastrophe on this scale. I really hate the idea of humanity being threatened every couple of weeks while the doctor saves them. It's better if you stopping plans that are being laid early or something of the sort. It's like the Pertwee era on steroids or something. At least the aliens didn't hover over London with nobody noticing them again. However, in saying that, there was much to love in the Poison Sky, with the Sontarans getting their butts kicked, more Wilf action, and some fine action scenes and special effects. The best part of this episode, though, was what some would term fan wink, and those were the references. They weren't too obvious after all. Why wouldn't the doctor mention the brigadier? And the rest of the references were pretty funny too. In particular, Are You My Mummy? If you didn't laugh at that, you're either not a fan or you just don't have a sense of humor. It's definitely the weakest Sontaran story, but the competition is strong, so I'm not complaining. Good stuff, just wish we could have fewer stories where the entire universe is in peril.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't really mind the idea of like every couple of weeks Earth is threatened. Like, I like the stakes like that. Also, I think Russell was setting things up with this, which
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate because I really like the payoff. And so, yeah, it works for me. And yeah, I like all the references too.
This last review is by the user Mr. Film and Television Show, and they wrote on April 1st, 2021, saying, a classic Doctor Who two-parter with a great ending. Better than most, I'd wager. I still find the Santar Ha dance to not only be the best part of the episode, but also absolutely hilarious.
It's pretty great. Can't lie.
Yeah, it's funny. And with that, we are now pausing our series for rewatch. And remember, we will not have an episode next week, but the week after that, we will be back with the Robot Revolution talking about Shurigatwa again.
It's going to feel like so long until we're back in series 4. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Oh, it's absolutely insane. I'm looking back to resuming series 4, but also emotionally and selfishly, I'm glad we're pausing to prolong it.
Me too. I'm really glad we're dragging it out because I love this series and I love David Tennant and I'm not ready to say goodbye.
Me either.
And yeah, I can't wait for this new season. Can't wait to get more Shuti and Ruby and meet Belinda and everything we've seen so far. Like, this season just looks so visually stunning, and I can't wait to talk all about it with you.
Same here. So, as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TimeyWimeyPod.
And email us anything and everything to timeywimePod@gmail.com.
And we will talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.
Bye. Ta-ra.